28% of all supermarket produce is wasted, representing 10% of all sales. Yet produce is responsible for a disproportionate amount of supermarket profit. If produce waste were cut in half, supermarkets might actually incur an operating loss. These numbers and our trained cultural views on the edibility, viability, or even utility of produce reflect a microcosm of the problem. Food waste is profitable. Food waste provides jobs. But at whose or what expense? Food waste reinforces the cultural value of paying a premium for flawless, attractive, and perfectly shaped produce. There was once a tagline to a commercial that said, "Anything less would be uncivilized." Perhaps we are trained that it would be uncivilized culturally for us to go to the grocery store to buy a day's worth of produce at 75% off that is perfectly edible for 24 to 48 hours, but has an imperfect appearance. Anybody ever seen that? No. Why not? The answer is because a high percentage of the profit in the food supply chain is dependent upon us accepting what the stores are training us to do. If they ever trained us, by offering it, to eat the 75% off produce, it would cut into the high profit margin of perfect in shape, size, and appearance produce consumption. So who does the training? Well, that's a great question, but it can't be addressed until it is acknowledged that there are fundamental competing interests between the biggest donors to our food banks in America and the food banks themselves. It's the elephant in the room nobody will talk about. Consider all the food donated to the largest food assistance not-for-profit organization in America reflects 19 days for the entire amount of food waste in our food supply chain annually. But we rarely hear the problem addressed in those terms. We just see the ads of how much supermarkets donate to food pantries, which is by itself a good thing, but in combination with waste stats it's frustrating. Meanwhile, the American taxpayer invested $600 billion on food stamps last year. That's billion with a B. So what's the answer when the economy and a long, deep instilled cultural eating and purchasing habits act in tandem to produce a strange result like 1 in 6 Americans hungry while 40% of our food is wasted? The answer is the same as it's always been in America. We need innovation, education, and motivation. But how many people are disturbed by the juxtaposition of food waste and hunger in America? The voice of injustice isn't heard by the masses until it reaches the famous tipping point. Sometimes injustice is just a malaise we choose to accept because the way of change is too hard or comes with too great of a perceived cost. Sometimes it's just that we can only tackle so many injustices at once, and in the land of plenty, this one just doesn't rank high enough right now. One thing is for certain, more voices are needed. More people sounding the alarm, more organizations to preach the message, and more funding for the best ideas. I'll leave you with this thought. In 2008, I heard the founder of the International Justice Mission, Gary Haugen, ask a profound question at a leadership conference. He asked, "Are you leading in the things that God cares about?" While there have been many twists and turns with food rescue over the years, including some successes and disappointments, I remain steadfast in two things. God cares about food waste and hunger in the land of plenty. And number two, God called me through food rescue to play a leadership role in the issues of food waste and hunger. I'm thankful for all of your continued support that allows me to continue to lead in the area of food waste reduction and hunger relief. God bless you, and let's do great things in 2014.